Hello everyone, welcome back to sort of the In Out Crowd, but it's actually, for the rest of this week, the In Out Crowd Festival. Insert Liza Minnelli jazz hands there. So, as mentioned last night, we are celebrating LGBTQ plus History Month with a cascade of amazing performers, artists in our community, and we are kicking off tonight with the amazing Miss Peaches, who is just getting ready as we speak. Of course, as you can see, I am sticking with my rainbow theme. Tonight I'm going for purple and green in a suit, giving you a sort of drag king eleganza, if you like. But what is it that these colours represent? Well, in the original Pride flag, as mentioned, is what I'm going for. The purple represented spirit and green represented nature because, you know, we were all hippies back in the 70s, and well, I still am. So I had to dress up in homage to the past colours and their meanings. As I mentioned, I'm going to be joined by Miss Peaches, and she is not the only drag star that we are going to be talking about tonight. We are also going to have a look at some other drag stars and seeing if we can identify them in our next segment, which is, of course, Let's Get Quizzical.
Let's get quizzical, quizzical. I want to get quizzical. Let me see you win first prize.
So I'd like to join all of my, you're already here. I'm going to join all of my studio audience with me here today. Yes, I'm giving you, who's the guy in Bullseye? Jim Bowen, was that him? That's who I'm trying to channel. Eleanor, you're too young. You young things. Me and Tommy, we know what we're talking about.
Sorry, I'm not sure. Sorry, I don't know.
Sorry, I'm forgetting you're just the ripe old age of 22, Thomas. I'm here by myself. Well, nevertheless, hopefully we will be able to identify some of these amazing drag artists that I'm going to be zooming in on. Eleanor and Ileana, what's your drag knowledge like of the past? How confident are you feeling?
I mean, I'm down on RuPaul's Drag Race. I started that in season 5. Anything before season 4, I might be a little iffy on, but sorry. But anything after that, I'm good.
Mine is very basic. I haven't started with RuPaul's Drag Race yet, but it's on the list.
Well, let me tell you that none of the queens are featured in RuPaul's Drag Race at all. In fact, most of them don't even do drag anymore, either for career reasons or being dead. So let's see how we get on. First up, is this a clue? Can I move it the way? Yes, I'll move this side. So this is a zoom in of an eye makeup and quite an iconic eyebrow of a drag artiste of the past.
Well, my confidence has gone.
I'm giving you a winged eyeliner. I mean, honestly, that could be like me hanging about outside Argos when I was a goth when I was 14. So I'll give you a clue. She is talked about on Drag Race. She's referenced a lot. She's a one-name queen.
Oh, is it no, I'm going to say this wrong. Is it Riviera?
No. But there's a V in it. Do with that what you will. One name queen. She is godly. She is delightful.
Oh yes, they talk about a delight. I know what you're talking about.
She's, if you were to, be given some sort of rich chocolate ganache, you might say, oh, this tastes. D word, begins with a D.
Delicious.
Not delicious.
Divine.
Delightful.
Divine! It is Divine, yes. So Divine was one of the original drag superstars of the world. She featured in many films, including those by John Waters as well, who did Pink Flamingos and lots of other fantastic, amazing weird kind of indie movies, and she was best known for being kind of filthy and really punk rock, and I think that says it all there. So Divine, wherever you may be in the afterlife, we thank you for your services to humankind and to drag and to art. Next up, more of a homegrown queen here.
I know this one. Well, I think I know this one. I say that confidently. I don't know if I do.
I know this one. Let's see. Eleanor, Ileana, is this giving you any? I'll give you a clue because Tommy apparently just knows. This queen is still working today, but not as a queen, as their out of drag self. Liverpudlian. Glasses. Used to have his own talk show.
Tommy, put us out of our misery.
It's Lily Savage.
It is Lily Savage, who made a bit of a kind of cameo from Ellie Diamond, dressing up as them on last week or week before's Drag Race, depending on when you're watching us and when we're filming us. Lily Savage, again, was a homegrown, probably one of the biggest queens to come out of the UK. I would argue the biggest, but I'm a bit biased because, like, a pure mad lover. She used to host Blankety Blank in the 90s, which I do remember. That was my first introduction to drag, was me and my dad sitting watching Blankety Blank, just going, who is this amazing human? And I always really admire Lily Savage's attitude towards drag because there was a really famous interview that she gave, and I'll see if I can find the link and we'll pop it in the comments. And she was talking about Drag Race coming to the UK, and she was saying, you know, I love drag of all sorts, but for me, drag is, you know, me dressed up in a pub somewhere, just ranting and raving, and, you know, kind of all that stuff. And I think that that's something that really kind of speaks to us. Eleanor, Tommy, Ileana, is that a style of drag that you like? Do you like the kind of old-fashioned, you know, like kind of comedy, a bit filthy, or are you more into the glamour, kind of gorgeous side of things?
I think it's funny. I'm a little bit older. Little bit. I said that quite gently. I'm a little bit older, and that's certainly the drag I kind of grew up with. Is that kind of, you know, the kind of drag artist, like very much in that vein of Lily Savage, about, you know, well, absolute, like that kind of quite British drag kind of look, you know. Which I think has just been amazing about RuPaul's Drag Race in the UK, has been, you know, you've got all this like beautiful, you know, there was a real big thing made about it at the beginning of last season, wasn't it? The first season in the UK. Now, you know, in America, they've got like amazing names, you know, and then in the UK, it's like bag of chips, you know. And I think that it kind of really encapsulates, I think, that kind of drag that I kind of grew up with, about you would go into the pub and you would absolutely, you know, have your bottom handed to you, you know, by this drag queen who would just absolutely kind of tear you apart, but then would kind of casually have a wee drink at the end of the bar, you know. And I know that still goes on, but there was something that just felt very much about, it wasn't necessarily the glamour, there was something about the messiness and roughness of the look as well, that I just think was really, really rough and ready. So I really appreciate when there's like modern queens who are kind of still bringing that vibe back, that energy still being there, because I think all of it is great, all of it's important, and it shows, you know, the real breadth of talent that we have.
Absolutely. I'm kind of the same there, Tommy. I always like a bit of rough around the edges. There's no point in having a diamond, is there? You want that, you want the kind of rare gem. Talking of rare gems, last up is quite a tricky one.
Oh no, I do know this one.
Oh, do you? Oh, was it the glasses? Was it the wee specs, Eleanor? Just sort of give that away.
Yeah, you could tell who was the nerd at school. I was like, oh yeah, me.
On you go then, Eleanor. Who is this?
Dame Edna.
It is the magnificent Dame Edna, yes. So Dame Edna is not based in the UK. Dame Edna was still alive, is Australian. As far as I know, they are no longer doing drag. They have sort of semi-retired. They used to have a talk show, I believe it was on Channel 4, but I don't want to be quoted on that. And again, that was when me and my mom would sit and watch the talk show, and she had the most amazing catchphrase when she would greet people. She would say, do you remember? She would go, hello, possums. And I just remember running around the playground saying hello, possums to everybody, until Janet pulled me aside saying, can you please stop doing that? And that is it. That was our quiz. Give yourselves a wee round of applause. Very, very nice. Now, as well as these fantastic, amazing queens of yesteryear, I suppose, we wouldn't have, as Tommy mentioned, the amazing breadth of drag that we have now had it not been for these queens paving the way. And one of the queens continuing to pave the way in modern day drag in Dundee is Miss Peaches. And we wanted to give Miss Peaches a little bit of a spotlight into just what her drag is, who she is in drag, and why drag is important in our community still today. So for tonight's special guest for our In Out Festival, we have the incomparable, the fabulous, the amazing dancing queen of Scotland, Miss Peaches. Hello.
Hello. You know what? I always love a good intro. You know what? I love people bossing me up because, honey, it doesn't feel like this in the lockdown, honestly.
I know.
You really lose a sense of self, don't you? Like, see hearing people be like the dancing queen of Scotland, the incomparable. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot who I was.
Yeah, completely. The first time that I saw you in person was when you were the host of Dundee Pride, not last year, obviously, but the first year, and you were absolutely amazing. It was fabulous work.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So with you've mentioned lockdown then, let's just kind of start off with that. How have you been during lockdown? How has it been being a drag artist in lockdown?
Well, this is the thing. I think every drag queen starts out as a, so to speak, bedroom queen. You know, we all start out doing little, you know, drag looks in our bedroom, and that's really where we all begin to flourish. And it's not until you really gain the social aspect of drag that and sense of community, really, that you really learn your place and who you are as a queer person. So for me, it's fine because I've had that. Do you know what I mean? I've been able to go to clubs. I've been able to build this up and, you know, really figure myself out and find a place here. And just doing looks in the bedroom, it's fine. I can do it. I've been doing it. We've all been doing it. This is the thing. Everyone's on an even. When you look at drag as a competitive field, everyone's on an even playing field at the moment because we're all in our bedrooms. You know what I mean? But that aside, I really think about the new drag queens that are sort of starting and that have started over the past maybe, you know, the past year in lockdown. And then even a bit more further than that. I mean, I was a bedroom queen for 6 months before I performed. So I really think of, okay, well, let's look back a year and a half ago. These baby queens, probably in their bedroom for 6 months, hope looking forward to the first performance, then boom, lockdown.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel for the younger generation of drag queens who they've not had that social aspect yet and that sense of community yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's kind of part of why we're wanting to do this kind of In Out Festival, is just to still be giving people that queer content that they so loved every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, and they've not been able to have it. So at least we're still getting our dose of Miss Peaches, still getting one of our 5 a day with you tonight.
Here we are with a side of some cream hen. Here we are.
Always. So a little bit about yourself then and your own kind of history of drag. Where did the name Miss Peaches come from? Because it's a fabulous name, like it's great.
Well, this is the thing. I don't think there are not many people in the UK start their dragging with a Miss or a Mrs. anymore.
Yeah.
I think the new generation of drag is all very like, they just want to have one name, like one word. You know what I mean? And I was like, you know, I want to be that I want to have a touch of old school, touch of new school. So the touch of old school is paying homage to, you know, the Miss, you know, the old pageants, because a lot of drag queens back in the day would always start their name with the Mrs. or a Mrs. And then the Peaches part of my name, also modern, comes from a Beyonce song, funnily enough. I know. Anyone who knows me personally, or who's following me at the very beginning of my drag career performing, they'll know I perform Beyonce a lot, and they'll know that I love, Beyonce's my diva, absolutely my diva. And she has a song called Partition. You've probably heard it before. Absolutely. Very sexual song. And she says a lyric along the lines of, he likes to call me Peaches when we get nasty, or something like that.
Aye.
And I thought, you nasty wee bam. I said, I'll have that, thank you very much.
But stick a miss on it because it's classy, you know?
But stick a miss because it doesn't sound as indecent.
Yes, indecent, yes. It's family friendly when there's a miss in front of it.
Funny that I'm talking about family friendly when you should see what I get like in my act.
Well, that's another thing. If someone was to come along to a Miss Peaches show, what could they expect on a typical night?
I don't know what y'all can expect from other performers, but I know what you can expect from me, and that is some good high energy. I you know, the Instagram bio says all head. I'm the dancing queen of Scotland, and I very much, that was a self-proclaimed title, but it's the title that no one else has been able to swipe away from me, and that's the important part. I think I found something that I'm good at, and I built my little self off of it, my little brand, so to speak, of being a high energy performer. However, I haven't completely boxed myself, and this is a good advice to a lot of other drag queens. Find your niche, find what you're good at, hone it, build off of it, but never box yourself in it. I've also, you know, see through lockdown, it really gave me that opportunity to show everyone else on social media the other aspects of my talent and what I can do. You know, I can do comedy, I can be funny, I can do extravagant looks. But when I was working, you know, before lockdown, I was working maybe 5-6 nights a week doing drag. And when you're working 5-6 nights a week, you do what is easiest for you to do. You do the most simple thing. And for me, prior, it was, you know, I love my human hair wigs. You know, this is, see, pre-lockdown, see if you saw me in this wig, you would have thought, oh my God, that's new for her. Because I always wore very flat, not flat, but, you know, human hair is flat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, I would give the very, I would give like a women realness fantasy. I would dress very skimpy because it's easy and it's comfortable. And I would do my high energy dance routines. And that would kind of be all people would see of me for a while. However, it was on a good level, don't get it wrong, it was on a good level. But that's all people would see from me for a while. So yeah, when you come to a show, I think in future when you come to a show, you can expect a lot more of a varied pot. Do you know what I mean? More of a mixed brew, love.
Aye, we Scotch broth, loads of different veg in there.
All the seasonings and pleasonings and sauces. Do you know what I mean?
Gotta have it. Well, that's something actually. I'm having a little kind of scroll through your Instagram, and one of the pictures that stuck out for me was when you did that Poe from Teletubbies look, and it was just because you are like, it's true when I see your glamour looks. I mean, it's just stunning. It's stunningly gorgeous. Like
Thank you.
the Kardashians wish. Like, no, it's like there was no chance. But when you can, as you said about not boxing yourself in, you've also got that kind of like the kind of twisty comedy, kind of something unexpected. And I think it just adds another string to your bow when you're able to kind of say, yes, I'm a glorious, stunning woman that can, you know, split and kick and dip, but I'm also able to deliver something a little bit unexpected. And I think that's really good advice, as you say, for the younger queens.
Thank you. Yeah, no, absolutely. I do think it's important to show all the facets of yourself, especially now where everything is, well, everything for us. It was actually highlighted on Drag Race this past week. You know, it was weird seeing how disposable our industry is.
Yeah.
And it's weird seeing how disposable we can be to this mainstream media and mainstream, you know, venue, public performance spaces that they've kind of proved to us, or well, they've tried to prove to us that they don't need us. So I think, you know, if you've got a talent and you've got an Instagram, what are you waiting for? Show it all, because gal, it'll be gone tomorrow in a heartbeat before you know it. And you don't want to be, you know, looking back when, you know, the whole entire drag world is over, thinking, oh, I wish I did that. I wish I did this. You know what I mean? Play with all the colours, do everything, get the big hair on, put the big outfits on, or vice versa, put the flat hair on instead. You know what I mean? Try everything.
Very, very good advice. I think even for people that aren't drag artists, even just for you know, everybody, just if you want to do something, just do it. Wear the wig, wear the hair, wear the suit. Go out there.
Go for it. I've just recently convinced my mum to start wearing extensions. She's loving her life.
Yes.
I said, hen, if your
Mama,
hair's thinning out, I said, your hair's thinning out, get extensions. She said, but I don't, she said, isn't that very fake? I said, who cares if it's fake?
Yeah.
You're living for you, not anyone else. I said, and do you want to be running about with thin hair? No.
I think
so
that's
get your extensions in.
Yes. Now, you'd mentioned about kind of the mainstream sort of media. For kind of those of us in the community and the know, we know that drag has always been that kind of punk rock, you know, I'm going to do what I want to do, dance at the beat of your own drum. But over the last 10, 15 years, it's become much more mainstream, which has been really great to expose more people to the art of drag. But there's also arguably been some cons to that as well. What's your kind of, from a drag artist perspective, how do you feel about drag being pushed more into the mainstream?
I love it, don't get me wrong. Love it. There's this beautiful side of it where you get recognition and love and admiration from anywhere. I'm sorry if you hear any background noise. I do, you know, I'm sorry if you hear any of that. You know, you receive all this love now that you probably wouldn't have received 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these days a drag queen will post a photo on Instagram and it becomes a new makeup trend.
Yeah.
10 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. But the downside to it now being more mainstream is people think that because they have been to a drag show once or because they have watched a television show, a couple episodes, I think they feel as if they have a right to tell drag queens how to do drag. People love to now, social media as well is a big part of this also. I would say above anywhere else, drag has become more mainstream on social media than anywhere else. The trends are copied a lot. And I think people, and it's as you say, drag queens were always the punks, drag queens were always the rock stars. We didn't give to, you know, we did what we want, we said what we want when we wanted to say it and when we wanted to do it. However, within reason, you know.
Yes.
No one was out here being, well, I imagine some people were, but you know, we weren't out here being racist and none of that. Do you know what I mean? We were just really just asserting ourselves, speaking our mind and doing what we want. Whereas nowadays, people really hold drag queens to this celebrity height, and they expect us to be very politically correct, and they expect us to be nice. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
10 years ago, if you'd bumped into a drag queen in the middle of a club and you touched her hair, she would have slapped you across the face.
And rightly so.
Absolutely slapped you. And nowadays, people feel like they can just touch us and poke and prod because they see it. So there's a massive disrespect now from a lot of people, and that's on the bad side of things. They hold us to this standard that we are to be advocates and we're to have all the answers. We don't always have the answers. And, you know, and on the other side, they expect us all to be rich.
Yeah.
They expect us all to be wearing massive couture garment. I say that while I'm in a couture garment. However, they expect us to spend a lot of money on outfits, and they expect us to have a lot of money. Drag isn't cheap. Bottom line, drag's not cheap. However, you can do drag on the cheap. Yeah. But these days, people just aren't interested in drag a lot of the time, unless you have the big coiffed styled hair and you have all the jewels on and you have the big outfits on. And it's a lot. It's a lot of pressure as well, especially for new drag artists also.
Of course, yeah. I suppose it's something that I think when you compare sort of queens that were around from the kind of 90s to now, they had that time to kind of be maybe a bit rough around the edges in the clubs when there wasn't camera phones and everything. You know, I feel like, as you said, now for a lot of new queens or new kings, new artists starting, it must be quite a lot of pressure when you've got a camera phone in your face on your very first performance.
Honestly, I had 20 on my first. You know what I mean, though? And we all love it. We wouldn't do drag unless we loved it from the jump. However, sometimes people do steal your joy a little when they are. I mean, there's been times where I've been, you know, after a gig and I've been in a takeaway shop and you know, you've got the gay boys who think they know everything, and they're like, oh, there's a rip in your tights. Oh, I can see a thread hanging. Oh, your heel's a bit like, they will tear you apart, and you're like, hold the bus. Where are you getting this expectation of drag? Just because you see drag on the TV at this level, these queens took out loans to have brand new tights and beautiful heels. Honey, I'm doing this as a local girl, so I appreciate it. Even me sat here now and people watching, they won't know what goes into it. And I think, see your local drag artists that are doing the damn thing, and they are looking immaculate, and their hair's gorgeous, and they're doing their own hair, they're sewing their own outfits, they're doing everything. You know, those, you really need to hype them up and don't criticize them, because honestly, they're going above and beyond what a lot of other drag queens would be doing. And, you know, drag kings, vice versa. Drag queens, kings and things, all of that above.
Here, absolutely. And without our, as you say, their kind of local artists, that's what got drag to be of the mainstream now. And, you know, it's sometimes I feel like, just totally personal, I feel like kind of local is used as almost like an insult or like a kind of a criticism. But I mean, I don't know how you feel about that, but for me, like, kind of my local scene was Glasgow, and I loved it. It was incredible. You would go into a bar in Polo or in Delmonico's, you wouldn't know what people were going to come up with, and it was amazing.
For me, I don't take local as an insult. I actually take local as a compliment, because for me, it's like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Of course.
It's very much that. So to me, the term local to me all means something different to me as what it means to everyone else. But for me, it's not enough to just be someone that looks good. To me, a local drag artist is the full package. They're someone who, they're on the mic, not on the mic, because not every drag queen hosts, but this is just my definition. And because I view myself as more of a local queen. Even if one day I'm not a local queen anymore, I'll still very much hold myself to the local queen standard of, don't be letting it slip, because these local gals are turning looks, and they're turning the performances, and they're still nice, and they still have the patience to deal with every single person in the room. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of the people who are not local anymore, I'm not pointing fingers, I'm just saying, they don't do that. They don't have the time for it. They think looking pretty is good enough, and they could stand on the stage and walk from side to side, and they think that they are. No, the local girls is where the real talent lies. So I do not take local as an insult one little bit.
100%. I love how you phrase that as well, because I'm right there with you. With regards to sort of, if we want to talk about Drag Race, just from what I've heard kind of other queens saying, how does it feel when you hear a fan saying, oh, you're giving me Tatiana, oh, you're giving me Captcha, oh, you're giving me, Adore? Does that how does that feel as a drag artist? Do you not mind being compared to others, or is that something that stirs a bit of
I mean, I think it's down to the person. I mean, it happens to me a lot of the time on TikTok. I have a bit of a following on TikTok, and people comment on my videos a lot, being like, "Oh my god, yes, give me India Farah," or they like to. One person I vividly remember. One person said, "Gigi Good out of drag, Alexis Mateo in drag," and to me, I think Alexis Mateo is a stunning drag queen. Yeah. She's flawless. However, I just couldn't help but feel it was a little bit of a dig. And I was like, I can't stand when they do this, because it's, and my reply to him was, no, I miss Peaches, because there's only one Miss Peaches. I'm nothing like Gigi Good. I'm nothing like Alexis Mateo in the slightest. I miss Peaches. I'm the first, the one, and the only. Get with the program, or you can leave. It's very that.
This planet of Peaches, go and buy a strawberry instead.
Absolutely. Well, to be honest, I don't actually even like Peaches either, but here we are.
So, since this is LGBTQ+ History Month, and it's kind of no secret that drag artists and drag queens particularly were the driving force behind our community, do you feel that when you get on stage? Do you feel the legacy of kind of drag that came before you? Like, how does it feel to be part of what a lot of us refer to as kind of the idols of our community? Really, as the drag queens that make the change and get the voices heard, and as you say, kind of stand by what they say. Does that feel quite special to be part of that?
Well, this is the thing, it means something totally different now, because a queen from my city is now a Rue girl. Ellie Diamond, Ellie's now a Rue girl. Props to Ellie. So it means something a little bit different now, and I don't know how I'll feel until I'm on the stage. And this is the thing, I definitely feel pressure on social media now to kind of because this thing, Ellie's now on a national TV show, and people know where she's from. She's from my hometown, and I feel, well, this might be just my own opinion, but I feel like people, I feel like it's kind of put us under a magnifying lens, so to speak. You know what I mean? And I think, okay, well, now I have to be the top of my game now, because, I don't want people looking at the Dundee drag scene and, seeing Ellie, which is amazing, and then seeing us, which is just a bit hodgepodge, looking all alone. DIY people. There's nothing wrong with drag being DIY. Drag is DIY, but I think there is a bit of pressure, a wee bit, to kind of keep the standard, but just not have the same pay grade.
But we'll get there. How does it feel for you? Because for a lot of people in the community, particularly you know, those of us from small towns, which I was, you know, drag artists and the sort of legacy of drag queens and kind of, you know, gender non-conforming people such as, you know, Sylvia Rivera, Marsha P. Johnson, you know, do you feel like you're continuing that drive forward? Because a lot of people now kind of say, oh, you know, well, gays are fine, you've all got your rights, and, you know, like, what's the big deal? But I certainly feel for being a fan of drag, not just a fan of a TV show, but an actual fan of drag, that you all are still giving us small town kids the kind of the inspiration and the passion, and going, yes, that's what makes our community great. Do you feel that?
In certain situations I do, in certain circumstances I absolutely do. You know, when I was at Pride, I definitely felt like I was, you know, playing my part and paying my dues to the queer community. That's really when you feel it, when you're hosting a show, when you're doing the show, when you're providing a space for these people to exist and thrive in a room with no judgment or no fear. That's when I feel like I'm doing my part. I feel like I'm doing my part when I'm on stage at Pride, and I'm, you know, putting the message out there to, you know, all 14,500 people. But other than that, I do realise I do have a platform on social media, and there are a lot of younger people who follow me. I do get messages, quite a lot of people, you know, saying that how much I'm an inspiration to them, and it feels like a weird comment to take for me. I didn't grow up with that dynamic where people would just come to you and tell you something fabulous about yourself. I didn't grow up like that. So, you know, the past 3 to 4 years of me doing drag, I'm still learning how to take that compliment of people saying, you know, you've helped me so much, you're an inspiration to me. And I don't know what to say to it. Yeah, I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful, don't get me wrong, like, it's the utmost gratitude. I just don't know how to respond to it, because it feels, you're like, whoa, because you kind of feel it, do you know what I mean? And you're like, damn, there really are people watching me and really taking into account what I do and how I conduct myself. But on the flip side of that, drag queens have always been the pioneers for that. But not just drag queens, also trans women, trans men. And I think trans women and trans men in the community are a lot of the time overlooked. Same as non-binary people. And I think drag queens, you know, cisgender men in wigs, not all drag queens are that, but the majority are. And I feel like a lot of them get a lot of the glory for stuff that maybe they've not always done. Because the cisgender gay men, not all the time, a lot of the time, they tend to be a tad bit misogynistic. And so do drag queens a lot of the time. I think, and I know you probably think, oh, wow, how ironic is that? You're dressing up as a lady and you're misogynistic. You would be so surprised at the stigmas that some drag queens carry with them. And I think it's just about calling people out doesn't have to be a bad thing. Calling people out doesn't have to be you're cancelled. Calling people out can literally be a wee message to say, hey, I don't think you're maybe carrying yourself right. I think you can maybe look at this a bit differently. Give someone something to think about. Give someone a bit of food for thought and question them. There's nothing wrong with being questioned, and there's nothing wrong with questioning yourself. I don't doubt for 1 second that everyone doesn't have the best intentions. Everyone probably does have the absolute best intentions. But whether that is showing in your actions and your words or not, that's a different story. And there's nothing wrong with being corrected on it. I think a lot of people take it as, I'm being called out, it's the end of the world, I'm cancelled. No, you're not cancelled. People just want to see, maybe take a bit more accountability for, you know, things you do, things you say. Give credit where it's due, aka a lot of the time, trans non-binary people, and keep it moving. Everyone's doing the part, everyone can do their part.
Oh, sorry, you cut it for a wee bit there, but I got it. Sorry, it was just a wee bit of a delay, but absolutely. One more thing then. What advice would you give to little baby Peaches, maybe 6 months before she started?
Oh,
Hi, thrown you in.
feel like you're sitting there with a photo of me going, what would you
What
say?
would you say to little baby Peaches?
What would I say? I would say, get out of your head a lot of the time, because I'm a very anxious person. I seem to think that everyone else is holding the same magnifying glass up to me as what I'm doing to myself. So I micromanage every single move, every single thought, every single word that I post online. I scrape over it so finely because I just seem to think people are like that on me. And 9 times out of 10, they're not. I would really just tell myself, stop worrying. Do you learn how to style wigs faster? You know what I mean. Learn more than 2 dance moves quicker than what you did. And just, I don't think I did anything wrong. I would say just keep it you. Because when I came in the drag scene, I still am really nice. It's the thing. Not many people will ever have a really bad encounter to say about me, unless you've came at me in ill intentions first, then you got it back, and to that I'm not sorry. But this is the thing, I'm never not nice to people. I'm always nice to people. I always give people a chance. Everyone gets chances with me, you know, until you prove me otherwise. You know, I'm your friend. I'm your girl. You can come to me. We can have a chat. If you want to talk something out, we'll talk something out. And I've always been that way. I've always been a loyal queen. I've always been a hardworking queen. So I would just tell myself just to do that, because I've only been performing for just over 3 years. So I've really only been in the drag scene for 3 years. And that is still considered relatively really new compared to a lot of the other drag queens in Scotland who are at the same level as me. I am the newest. And I think I've got to where I've got because of that. And I'm very proud of myself. So I would say, keep doing what you do, love.
Well, we're also very proud of you, Miss Peaches. You're doing not only Dundee proud, but the entire of Scotland proud. And if anyone is sitting watching saying, oh, I quite fancy going to a Miss Peaches show, do it, because you will not be disappointed. If people do want to follow you and such, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at official Miss Peaches. You can find me on TikTok at Miss Peaches Official. You can find me on Twitter at Miss Peaches EOI, because EOI hen. I don't really post YouTubes anymore, but you can find me on YouTube at Miss Peaches Drag. You can find me on Facebook at Miss Peaches Drag also. I think I covered it all.
I think so. I think so.
And you can catch me on real live from the bins.
Not for another few months, but you will be there once we're back.
Honestly, you can take the gal out the scheme, you can't take the scheme out the gal.
We wouldn't want to, and we wouldn't want to. So Miss Peaches is also performing a little something for us as well. So we will say thank you very much to Miss Peaches for now, and we will be back with a short performance. Stick around.
The Miss Peaches sensation.
It's time for Miss Peaches to slay the stage. let me tell you, it's been so long since I've been to a live drag show, and I'm sure everyone else watching and in the studio audience is feeling exactly the same. That was just what I needed to get me through the rest of this week. Miss Peaches, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and I know that I'll just be jiving about my house for the rest of the evening, and I can't wait. Thank you again to everyone watching. Please do tune in tomorrow afternoon when we are having a chat about LGBTQ+ education in schools with two teachers from Dundee Schools Downfield Primary and Brayview High School. And we'll also be joined by artist Mamoru talking about their art and what they're making for young people pertaining, word of the day, to queer culture. Thanks again to Cora Foundation for the support of the In Out Crowd project, and also thank you to the Equality Network for supporting this week's oh my gosh, right at the end, I could have waited another 20 seconds, for supporting this week's LGBTQ+ history event. And with that being said, thank you everyone watching. Goodbye.